Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, emotional health paradigm. We do that as often as we can, usually several times per week. We do that so that you can gain something, hopefully, of value in just kind of navigating life in a different way. This is the first in our social anxiety issue. And so, kind of, social anxiety is one of those things that many of us are trying to avoid dealing with. And sometimes social awkwardness is something that we don't know that we're having. And so, if you're dealing with social awkwardness, there are coaching methods that can be helpful with that. Would love to be of assistance to you in that way if that's something you deal with. At PO Perception on Twitter or in the About Me section of the YouTube page are two ways to get in contact with me if you do need help with that particular issue. The first thing is avoidance. So, avoidance of social situation indicates social awkwardness. This is because the average person who is socially awkward wants to avoid the conflict associated with kind of having to deal with that particular issue. The idea of not having social interaction in exchange for the level of emotional peace that comes with the just being able to avoid things, being able to not deal with things of that general nature is also super important. And when a person feels like they can't do that or there's a struggle in that way, it can become super overwhelming and somewhat sometimes valuable to be able to know, hey, this is why a person is behaving in this manner. This is why a person is ultimately connecting in this way. The next thing, if you have social awkwardness, is the predominance of fear of failure in social situations is what takes over a person's mind, heart, and thoughts as it relates to moving forward. The ability to not be drained by the process is another factor that ultimately leads to challenges and difficulties related to how things go forward there and the continuation of being able to deal with that in a strong enough way is also super important when people are trying to connect on in a deeper manner and being able to avoid that fear of failure. Look, there are some people that you won't get on with. There are some people that you will not connect with, but the fear of failure in that dynamic ultimately leads to a level of negativity and often stress as it relates to dealing with any of that. And the challenge that's there is ultimately how does one deal with that in a better way. The next thing there is a certain level of drainage. So, drainage meaning emotional drain on socially interacting. People who are socially awkward are trying to think so far ahead of what other people might be thinking, could be thinking, would be thinking about them, or trying to avoid the internal and external conflict that comes with being misunderstood, misheard, miscategorized, and kind of misvalued. That the continuation of trying to maintain those levels of relationship in a deeper manner can often be so overwhelming that the average person doesn't want to deal with any of that, and so that lack of desire in dealing can often create challenges as it relates to kind of confronting those things and dealing with those things at a different or better or decent level, and so that becomes problematic in and of itself as well. The next thing there is the discomfort, even in the continuation of feeling or the continuation of thought, in kind of connecting with that and dealing with that, and being able to handle that discomfort in a meaningful way, and knowing where and how things go forward in that continual way. So the discomfort comes from having to think ahead or having to plan ahead or having to know what exactly another person might be thinking or why they're reacting in a certain way. The difficulty in starting conversations is another interesting factor. So, a person who is socially awkward may struggle to find ways to communicate or topic starters or the ability to know what to say or how to respond, and the speed of a conversation will also impact their ability to enjoy it well. A person who is constantly stressed out isn't going to enjoy a conversation nearly as much as a person who's kind of found some level of peace in that way. And so hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.